Right. There we go.
You could be uncle from the, from the north or something.
Maybe my German name would be Christoph or something. How do you say Christopher?
Yeah, that's right. And
that's it,
isn't
Christoph?
your last name Hall?
Yeah.
So in German it would be Hall.
Hall.
Hall. Christoph Hall.
Christoph Hall.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I feel German now. Christoph Hall.
How common is that last name?
We have a few, I think. I mean, if you add an E in the end, it's a city, Halle.
Oh.
Anyway, I don't know. I don't really know anyone with a last name Hall.
Oh,
but I know there are some.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, I think. Hey, Maritha.
Hi.
I think my last name is English. I think, but
maybe
I don't know. Anyway.
Hi, baby.
This is Charlotte.
Oh my goodness!
Oh,
how you doing?
What a special guest.
This is our special guest here.
Oh, so cute.
Just can't get away from that.
You still have your tent, Maritha?
I do. It helps a lot, actually.
It helps, like, with what, like light?
Or so I can't see my bed anymore. And then it's just like a little room. So it keeps me focused, yeah.
Come say hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Last week.
Oh no, puppy can't come in. Yeah, there's Maritha's tent.
Yes.
I was thinking, since we're all, zooming along here on our, it might be a thing to kind of have like a nice kind of, people might start having like kind of crafted backgrounds and such, Maybe that's ahead of its time. I don't know.
You could be a trendsetter,
I could.
You do it, and then we all follow.
Yeah.
Did you notice?
Got my crafts and my sewing machines.
Exactly.
Did you notice? Had like a blurred background.
I noticed.
Yeah, that was cool.
I saw it.
And he was in focus. I was like, okay.
I saw it.
I was feeling that.
I saw it for sure. Oh my goodness. Something's printing here next to me.
Well, I think we can go ahead and get started here.
Great.
Well, thank you everybody for joining in. We're happy to have you guys back for another time of testimony time with Ty and Tino.
Testimony time with Ty and Tino.
We had
like that.
Time like it was Tuesday. That's another T, but it's Monday now. It's okay.
You don't want to overkill it,
Time with Tino and Ty on Tuesday at 2.
Yes. And if Tyndale joins me, I can throw in another T.
Exactly.
Yeah. So today our special guest will be Chris Hall.
Of course.
Thank you for joining us.
I like.
So what we like to do is we like to be inspired through the stories of other believers' testimony. This is not a new thing historically. When we hear about, each other's testimony, it inspires us. Because we see how God moves in people's lives. And oftentimes it parallels ours. Even if it doesn't, it motivates us, right?
Yeah.
It enriches us to see how God operates in other people's lives. So anyhow, we like to take a unique approach. Instead of just asking Chris, hey, tell us about yourself and how you became a believer. And he talks for another, 40 or 50 minutes or longer. We like to do it through an interview style where we ask specific questions to bring out the points that we believe may be interesting here. So, of course.
I know. I should put Mi
Ah,
trasero.
they
Yeah.
use the.
Yes.
Wow.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. So, Chris and I have known each other for some time, and I think before we begin, and I think a lot of you guys know Chris, obviously, but I think before we begin, maybe I would just ask Chris if you could just briefly just tell us where you're from.
Where am I from?
Where are you from?
I'm from just the city or
Yeah, just where you're from, where you grew up, like the town you grew up in.
I grew up in Irving, Texas, and the thing that's special about Irving, Texas, is that there's nothing special about Irving, Texas.
Nothing, bro.
It's a suburb of Dallas, but not one of the nice ones, And Texas Stadium used to be there. That's where the Cowboys used to play, and so the only thing special about Irving is that the Cowboys used to play there, but they abandoned Irving for clearer skies and better land. So I grew up in Irving, and my family. Should I talk about my family?
Yeah.
Sure,
What's the Hall's
sure.
family like?
My family. I'm a preacher's son. My dad. He's been serving the Lord for I think about 4 decades now.
Wow.
And I was born and raised in the Dallas area, and so I grew up a preacher's kid, and also just playing a ton of sports. We're kind of like big football people. My family is like all about the Texas Longhorns and playing football, and I, kind of my whole filter for humanity was, is this person good at football or not? That would kind of determine like what I thought about them, or how I viewed them. So, that wasn't necessarily imparted to me. That was just kind of where I was. And so anyway, my family's they're real sweet, country people, believe in Jesus, love the gospel, and welcome and love people. So that's the kind of environment that I grew up in.
So let me ask you a question. Where do you think you got your athletic ability from?
Well, I think it came from my mama's side. She's. I had an uncle that got a full ride to wrestle at Oklahoma State.
Okay.
And they're kind of real big people. That's why I was telling Johanna that's where my supposed German side comes from. And so big people. I think my mother's like 5'8" or something. She's pretty tall.
I met her. She's small. Yeah.
And but the whole, I think that's where largely the athletic ability comes from. But the whole kind of, tough, manly, aggressive football, all that really came from my dad's side. That's where the whole kind of love, for those kind of things and athletics and competition, et cetera. That's where that came from.
Okay. So you mentioned that your dad is a preacher and he's been preaching for a long time. So a question I want to ask you is, at what point in growing up did you realize what exactly that was, and how did that impact you?
What exactly? What was the gospel, or my dad preaching, or
your dad being a preacher?
That's
not a very, maybe in Texas it is, but to me that's not a very like common, everyday kind of kids find their parents being.
Yeah. Well, I understood it wasn't. Most people aren't preachers, so.
Right.
I caught that pretty early on, and it did mean for sure that we're kind of, watched in the sense that we're supposed to be an example as a family and such, but I will say this, I just, my whole life, I just knew and early on that my dad had like something real with God.
Wow.
Real relationship, talk to the Lord, and he would talk about God as if he like spoke personally with God. And I knew that whatever he had, I did not have,
Is this like around 10 years old? What were we talking about?
Oh, no, early on. Earlier than that. Single digit for sure. I would say, 6, 7, I knew that my dad really had something with the Lord. And there were other people in our congregation that were like that too. And I was not one of them. I knew
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
But that was honestly, it was real positive. It was real positive.
And were you a pretty quote church kid? You know, church every Sunday. What?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What was your church life look like growing up?
Yeah. We would have of course we'd have the meeting on Lord's Day morning, and then we'd have youth on Sunday afternoon, and then we'd have Wednesday night. We had some kind of, youth, kind of Bible study, something on Wednesday nights. We went to, that was a lot, that was a lot for us anyway. So, but real usual to have young people over at our house and eating and, playing pool and Bible studies, etc. All of that was real normal.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. So last question pertains to that is, so now when you raise your own kids,
Yeah.
how do those memories of you growing up, knowing your dad's a preacher, and now probably your kids in some way start seeing you that I know you thought about it.
Yeah, well, for sure I've thought about it. I'll be honest with you, I want my kids to know the same thing. I want it to be real normal for young people to be over. I want them to see high schoolers and college students loving Jesus and investing in them. And I absolutely want that in our home, and want their future to be that too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I know there's a lot to your testimony. I've known you for a few years, Chris, and you definitely have not lived a boring life. I can say that much.
All right.
I don't think we have the time or the scope to really cover your entire testimony today. But maybe a particular year that could be really interesting for everybody is summer of 2009.
Yeah.
I think you will probably say that when you consider your testimony, that was probably a very significant time.
Oh, for sure it was.
So maybe you can just kind of give us like a kind of an idea of what that summer meant for you.
Yeah, well, to me, it meant honestly seeing the Lord do more than I could have asked or thought. I came to UT an unbeliever, meaning I did not have Christ. It's possible to grow up going to church and not be a Christian and not to have Jesus.
Yeah. Right.
Just like you can go to McDonald's and not be a hamburger. That's where hamburgers belong, but that doesn't mean just going there makes you a hamburger,
That's right.
And so I came to college without Christ. And shortly after arriving, I received the Lord, and all the things that my dad was talking about all those years started becoming real. And so that was incredible. And shortly thereafter, I really wanted to preach the gospel. I wanted to see people know Jesus like I came to know Jesus, And so, me and my older brother, we would, he got dynamically brought to the Lord too. And we would do all kind of crazy things. We would go, we'd go down to Deep Ellum in Dallas. That's like 6th Street in Austin. We'd go down to Deep Ellum and we'd be preaching the gospel on the corner to all, everybody who's coming out of the clubs. And we'd be, not throwing tracts at them, but what I mean. We were, we were so excited and zealous and just wild, and so I spent a number of years in college just being zealous for the gospel. But, be honest with you, just wasn't that much fruit out of that. I didn't see that many people come to the Lord, believe in Christ, or if they did, there wasn't much after that. It was just kind of like, okay, man, see you later, And so by the time my senior year came around, that's 2009. By the time my senior year came around, I was really just kind of crying out to the Lord, like, Lord, you got to give me some remaining fruit. I'm not just supposed to bear fruit. I'm supposed to bear remaining fruit. And I want to see this thing happen, So I was talking with one of our serving ones at, with our club, and I was meeting with him, and he helped me do something monumental. He helped me make a list and pray.
Yeah.
That probably doesn't sound too I don't know. It doesn't sound too life-changing.
That's a high power.
Exactly.
Make a list and pray.
Make a list
Make a
and
list and
pray.
pray.
Meaning he actually took out a little,
Wow.
it was actual paper, and we took out a pen and we made a list and we started praying for my friends,
Mm-hmm.
and something incredible started happening. My friends started being super open to talk about Jesus and fellowship about the things of God and all this stuff that really hadn't happened before. And then something else happened. I really asked the Lord. I was like, Lord, I need a companion. I'm tired of being the Lone Ranger. Even the Lone Ranger had Tonto. You may not know what the Lone Ranger is, but anyway, I didn't want to be solo. You know what I mean? I was just trying to be like Mr. Spiritual Hero, just do this thing and preach the gospel and contact these people. And, but it was all solo and there wasn't much fruit out of that. And so I really asked the Lord, I need a companion. I need a partner to come in and reach my friends. I was always had this thought about like the gospel is always like people I don't know in a place that I can't pronounce. But here I was being helped to pray for my friends. And I was like, I need some help. And so I really started praying for a companion. And the Lord gave me one. That was Trevor. His name's Trevor Lee. He used to serve with us. Now he's halfway across the world doing the same thing in Munich.
Where is he now?
Yeah. He's halfway across the world in Munich, Germany.
Germany.
Now.
There it is. Yeah.
But Tino, you were meeting with Trevor at the time, and turns out that we were going to have the same class over the summer, and I just took that as the Lord, like, this is who the Lord's pairing me up with. And so I introduced all my friends to Trevor, and I was like, Trevor, man, you got to help me, bro. I want to reach these people for Christ, and I want to share with them, but man, I need your help. So I introduced him to all my friends, and lo and behold, if Trevor just didn't start becoming besties with all of my friends and hanging out with them and spending all kinds of time with them. And then he started sharing with them the divine romance and all of this stuff. They would have these Bible studies for hours. This is in the summer of 2009. And be honest with you, a lot of times I just felt like I didn't really have the way or the interest to share a lot of things that I wanted to. But what I did was I just introduced them to one of the brothers, and Trevor had the way. And he just started sharing all these things with my friends. And before too long, I started getting these text messages that, wow, they had a Bible study for umpteen hours long, and they stayed up all night. And then we started having people get baptized. And in that one summer of our group of friends or their girlfriends, which eventually became their wives and cousins and friends from San Antonio, et cetera, in that one summer, Tino, you remember this, there were 16 people that got baptized that summer.
Yeah.
Wasn't that awesome, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, I think I was just hoping for, like, man, can I just get like one remaining fruit? Can I have like somebody that, loves Jesus and wants to keep doing that? You need help, baby? Okay. Well, I'm talking to some of his friends right now. Do you want to come say hello? No. Okay. Maybe you could go ask Mommy. Okay. All right.
Too cute.
And then I got married and had kids. So that's kind of the way things wrapped up.
Well, thank you for our time. That's
Yeah. Go Tino.
Here's a question I have for you. So when I think of you and Trevor, I mean, I don't think of you guys being that similar.
Yeah.
Like down south Texas boy, and Trevor's like, he's a soul kid from the West Coast.
Yeah. Smooth and good looking too.
Good looking. Yeah. I mean, one guy's very good looking. One guy, I'm not quite sure. Right. And,
hey, what can we say?
Yeah. I mean, so I mean, hey, they just look better when they come from Texas. I mean,
exactly. Well, okay. All right.
So I'm curious. I mean, like when you met Trevor, I mean, you must have initially kind of have a realization. We are not like
Mm.
peas in a pod here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
for
then
sure.
how then did you guys, because from what I can remember, you guys became quite close.
Yeah, no, for sure. And to me, since then, I'm convinced that the best relationships, the closest relationships, the lasting relationships are ones that are engaged together in the gospel and reaching other people for the
Mm,
sake of Christ. To me, those are the best friendships that I have
mhm,
had. Those are the
mhm,
friendships that have continued and
mhm,
lasted. The real deal is even though Trevor and I were not alike in a number of ways,
mhm,
the thing that we had in common was Jesus.
mhm,
And you know, the deal is I think this is kind of a mind opener, is that for us to have friendships, real friendships, in Christ, we don't have to be just alike. We don't have to watch the same shows, laugh at the same jokes, be from the same place, speak with the same accent. You don't have to be just alike. Actually, all you have to have in common is Jesus. If you've got
Wow.
Jesus in common, then there's so much to be connected on and related with. That's what friendship, love, relationship is like. It's not like, love, romantic love is like, oh, you're just like me, you're so amazing, you laugh how I laugh and you like the things that I like, and oh, I could just be with you forever. That's romantic love. Friendship love, that's facing one another. Friendship love is side by side looking at something else. It's, oh man, look at that, isn't that awesome, we have that in common, we like that thing. And what is that for us? It's Jesus. And so, you know what? I got over myself. I finally had enough humility to just be like, you know what? This guy's not just like me, and he hadn't been around the club as long as me. But you know what? This is who God has seen fit to
mm,
join me
mm,
with. And man,
mhm,
I want to invite this guy into my life and
mm,
into the burdens that I have for this group of friends. I'm about to graduate, and I don't have that
mm,
much time
mm,
left, and I
mhm,
need some help. And God's answering my prayer. And so, a little bit, I feel like I grew up a little bit and kind of got
Mm.
over myself and invited somebody else into my life that wasn't just like me. And you know what? More than I could have ever imagined came out of that. And so I was really happy that happened.
So it sounds to me like you know you have a personal relationship with the Lord. Your companion Trevor, he has a personal relationship with the Lord. You guys aren't similar, but having Jesus as a center overcomes differences.
Absolutely.
Also, having not just a personal relationship with Jesus, but like I say, there's a purposeful,
Oh, I like that.
right?
That was good
A
usage there.
purposeful.
I
It's not
like
just
it.
like, hey, I'm just, it's me and Jesus, it's you and Jesus, and let's just get along as two brothers. But you guys, it sounded like you guys were engaged purposefully in the gospel.
Mm.
Like
Absolutely.
maybe that's how the Lord was leading you at the time, and you guys were definitely purposefully engaged in something. And so it sounds to me like having even a purposeful relationship in the Lord between you guys, not just bridge differences, but sound like it enhanced and strengthened all the more your relationship with one another.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you this. I mean, I'm a few years beyond college now. Now, not that long. Okay. So I don't know what you're thinking right now. Okay. But not that long. But I'm a few years removed from college at this point. And, the relationships that have continued, the people that I still keep in contact with, all of that, it's all the people that I was engaged purposefully with for God's
Yeah,
purpose,
yeah, yeah.
I had a ton of friends. I've had a ton of friends in high school, in college. I played football in college, and I spent just so many hours with those guys traveling. Hotels, gym, practice, locker room. Just so many hours with these guys. And you know what? Be honest with you, I just don't talk to them that much. I just don't talk to them that much. We don't have that much to keep in contact about. Why? Well,
Mm.
you know, football only goes so deep. being from the same place only goes so deep. Liking
Wow.
the same things, laughing at the same jokes, both being good at football. That only lasts so long. The only thing that continues and endures is Christ and his purpose on the earth.
Yeah.
So those are the relationships that I have, that I continue to have, and that have continued. The relationships that are purposeful, personal with Christ, and purposeful in his interest on the earth.
So this was going on while you were your senior year, and so you were still actively involved in sports at that time, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. The majority of my time went to sports and football, and I mean it's an all encompassing kind of deal. You know what I mean? It takes the whole of your life.
Curiously, did you get any pushback from the coaching staff at all, or anything like that?
A little bit. And, maybe some of it was my fault, I mean, was I too much? Maybe so. There was one time, I mean, I guess I already started telling the story, so maybe I should. But there was one time where I was really praying about this, and I felt like the Lord was telling me, hey man, you got to stand up in the middle of the cafeteria and preach the gospel. And I didn't, I just felt like that's what it's like, I got to do this. And I just felt like the Lord was doing it. And was I right? I don't know. I mean, the Lord knows, but I talked with the manager, and this is our athletic cafeteria. I talked with the manager, and he was cool with it. And so, I like, hey, I just stopped everybody and got everybody's attention, and I stood up and I preached the gospel, and I got pulled aside for a little conversation after that, and was I too much? I would say yes, at times I was too much, but here's the deal. As people, and especially as being a high school or college age person, you're going to be too much about something for sure,
Oh, let me ask you this. If you could have regret, would you rather be regretful being too much or being too little?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's no question, you're going to be too much about something, in life. So why not be too much for Jesus? Why not be too much? Oh man, I read the Bible too much, and now I got to get a little more sleep. Well, okay. Hey, I mean, get a little more sleep, or, hey man, oh man, I preached the gospel a little too much, and so-and-so got mad at me a little bit. I had to kind of, okay, hey, you learned, and maybe you can come at it a different way next time. But probably better too much on that side, than the other side. So in that sense, I definitely, I don't regret being for Christ. The only thing I regret is not being for Christ sooner, and also not getting companionized up, so that I could have, borne more fruit. But anyway, if we're going to be too much, why not be too much for Jesus?
Can I ask, I mean, especially after that summer of 16, maybe friends or friends of friends, like, what was that kind of, I don't know, joy like that catapult you to, like, the next stage in your Christian life? Like, I mean, that's unimaginable. I mean, 16 of my friends coming to the Lord, like, what did that do to you, bro? Like, in your Christian life?
It was totally unimaginable. That was super abundantly above all I could have asked or thought. I couldn't have dreamed that. I just wanted to see like one or a couple, or, hey man, somebody loves Jesus more after me being around them, I mean, great, or if somebody gets saved, or,
Yeah.
But to see my own friends, I can't express to you guys how joyful that was. Jesus says in John 15, I write these things, or I say these things to you so that my joy may be in you, my joy in you, my joy in you. And, you just think about, man, I've been happy before, but what's it like to have God's joy in us? My joy in you. John 15 is about fruit bearing. He wants us to bear fruit. Why? So that we can have joy unimaginable. I mean, think about that, And to see my friends come to Jesus, that was more than I could have ever asked for. And you know, honestly, I feel like this is at least it was a concept with me, and I think it is a concept with more than just me. When it comes to gospel and fruit bearing, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I mean, I can kind of do that thing where I talk to somebody that I don't know for a little bit, and then it's kind of like, great, I did it, you know. But the deal is that the people who are most likely to come to Christ and give their life to God's purpose on the earth, they're people that we already know. They're our own friends. They're our family members, our siblings, our parents, our cousins, the people that we played sports with in high school, the guy that I hardly knew but kind of sat over there on that side of the class that I did homework with that one time, that, you know, the guy that went to my church, or the guy that it's warm doors. It's warm doors. It's people we already know. And that's exactly what Jesus did when he came to the earth. The disciples that he went and rounded up, were 4 of them were from the same town. If you read the Gospel of John, he goes and gets 4 guys from the same town. It's like, I want to start something that reaches every person on the whole of the earth. What should I do? I'll go get 4 people that know each other from the same town. And so a lot of times with the gospel, it's our own people, it's our friends, our family, our relatives and intimate friends. And to me, seeing them give themselves to God's purpose, it's joy unspeakable and full of glory. And that's what I want for all of our students.
And it started with making a list in prayer.
Yeah. Make a list and prayer and getting companionized up. You know, I mean, it just even with somebody who's not just like me, who loves like me and laughs like me and looks like me. You know, yeah.
Okay, I have a tough question for you here.
Okay.
And I'm glad Ty brought that back. So here's a tough question. So you mentioned these 2 things, being helped to make a list of names and being able to pray for them. That's very important. Sounds to me like I'm getting it from you. It's a very important thing to do.
Yes.
And then you mentioned finally having a companion.
Mm-hmm.
Even not just personal with Jesus, but purposeful with Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my tough question for you.
Okay.
Just hypothetical.
All right.
You could only, sorry, I have my kids here.
That's all right. We love kids.
You have one of the 2. Which one would you have?
One of the 2. Meaning
if you had to give up, meaning if you know, if between choosing making a list making a list to pray, or just having a companion. If you can only do one or the other, not given a choice to do the other one, which one would you choose?
So it's either having a companion or like having a list that with prayer that like eventually something comes of it.
Oh.
Well, I think, is that what it was? That's what it was, Ty?
Yeah.
That was your understanding. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go with list and prayer because that's going to bear fruit, and then I'll have a companion. and then I'll get both. You know what I mean? So I guess I got to go list and prayer.
Wow, you could have been a lawyer.
Oh, you know, always got to see. You know, got to look for the bright side. You know, it's kind of like eternal optimist. You know, it's kind of how I'm built. So.
Wow.
So, okay. Now, something people may not know about you, Chris, and I've been around you, and I've seen this, but I'm not sure if I know anyone who eats faster than you, Chris.
All right.
Oh, that's true.
I'm glad we could bring this up.
So, how did you become such a fast eater? I mean, did you grow up in a family of 12 people and you had to compete?
Well, I like food. Does anybody else like food here? Give me a thumbs up if you like food. Here we go. Okay. About half of us like food.
Yeah, Johanna doesn't like food, looks like.
You know, for those of us that don't like food,
I love food.
Johanna likes food. She loves. Oh, that's why she didn't thumbs up, because she doesn't like food. She loves food.
Loves it.
Exactly.
Good.
Careful with the wording here.
You know, one time I went to Germany and I had a Duna. Isn't that what it is? A Duna?
Junior.
Oh yeah, dude.
I had a
You
Duna.
like it?
I did.
What is it? Can you tell us what that is?
Chris, do you want to explain? Or
Yes. It's like a Turkish sandwich pita thing that's better. It's much better than Subway, and
Cheaper
and
too.
cheaper too. Yeah.
and worth flying to Germany for.
Wow.
Did that do it, Johanna?
Yeah, I think so. It's some, like, I think mostly Turkish people know how to make it actually, but it's the Turkish people that live in Germany, so it's pretty much German.
Exactly.
Wait, like, do you know how to make it, Johanna? Just side note, like, maybe no.
Yeah, but you know, it never really tastes the same because you have to have this, like, the meat on the stick kind of thing.
Exactly.
Anyway, the skewer. Yeah.
So
Can we make that the next cooking show, Johanna?
budget bites,
Connor?
budget bites, Duna.
Budget bites.
Yeah, let me think about it and get back to you after consulting with my head chef here.
We could have a session on making the stick thing and just put the meat on it. You know, that would be fun to do.
Okay.
Well, I had a question for C Hall. It's another line because you haven't really talked about it yet. How many years have you been serving full time on the campus ministry team?
I just started year 9, so 8 complete years.
How'd you go from football at Royal Stadium to wearing that shirt, talking to us today? I mean, just kind of briefly.
Let's go, baby.
That's a pretty big jump, if you ask me.
Well, you know, okay, so my freshman year, once I received Jesus, which was awesome, you know, then I just started kind of thinking about, okay, well, what do I actually want to do in life? You know, you got to think about that when you're in college. If anybody on here has actually thought about what do I want to do in life, why don't you just give me a thumbs up right now? That way we can just kind of get a little, okay. Great.
Yeah.
All right. So about 5 of us, I would encourage you, the rest of you, think about what you want to do in life. You know, it's an important question to ask. So I started thinking about that. All I knew was football, you know, that's all I knew was, well, I want to be good at football and popular, you know, and that's not a real good life plan. You know, that doesn't last too long. I want to be cool and good at football. So I started thinking about it. And I got saved, and I just started thinking, you know, I really want to serve the Lord. That's what I want to do. It's awesome. And you know, I mean, you know, be honest with you, I had a great pattern in my dad, and I wanted to serve the Lord. And so I didn't know exactly what that looked like, but I figured that it involved people. And so, you know, serving the Lord practically involves people in some way. You know, Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, and that church is formed of people, you know. So I just figured UT probably doesn't have much to offer me theology wise, but the School of Communication, they study people. So I majored in communication because I thought, well, you know, that might help me serve the Lord in some way. And so I just started going down that path. And then I did have, I had some pretty good years in football. We won a national championship. We lost a national championship. We won a conference championship. You know, I can count on 2 hands how many games we lost in the 5 years that I was there. And so those were good years, and I did have some opportunity to continue playing afterward, and once that kind of came to my awareness, I just started praying. I just started praying about, you know, what the Lord would have me do, and I didn't get an audible immediate response from the sky, nor did I get a voicemail that said it was from God. You know, I didn't get a response like that. But after a kind of a season of prayer, I was like, Lord, should I play afterward, or should I should I just go ahead and serve you in some fashion? I felt like the Lord was real clear and just kind of indicated, yeah, it's time to serve. And so, be honest with you, that wasn't an incredibly difficult decision because Jesus is better. The joy that there is to be had in loving the Lord and being in the church and participating in the gospel. Psalm 16:11 says, "In my presence is fullness of joy." Not Chris Hall's presence. In God's presence is fullness of joy, and at his right hand there are pleasures forever. And the good news is we can take God at his word. And so the very best that we could have is to be in God's presence in his perfect will. And for me, that looked like just going ahead and serving right away after college. I for sure never regretted that decision. Fullness of joy is really good. So I want to have more of that with y'all.
Biggest lesson you learned in the 9 years so far?
Biggest lesson I learned. Biggest lesson I learned.
Yeah, I only ask tough questions here.
Oh man, the biggest lesson I learned. Well, I don't know if this is the biggest, but it's a big one. It's a big one. If you wanna serve people fresh bread, you want to, serve them hot bread. I mean, not literal bread. You got to go to a bakery for that. But if you want to give them the living bread, then you got to spend the adequate time to get the bread first. And in serving the Lord, there's just unending things that you can do. There's just always more to do. Especially if you're creative, then you can just create all kind of good things for you to do, always, around the clock, 24/7. But primarily, what I've found is that I'm inclined to run on an empty tank because of so many good things that I can do, and I need to take care of the first things. Be with Christ in the Word, praying and nourishing myself so that I can then nourish others. That's been the big one, a big one for me. And sometimes if you're thick-headed, I guess it takes several years to get a lesson imparted there. So that's one. I don't know if it's the biggest, but it's big, at least for me.
What do you think is your biggest strength serving?
My biggest strength.
Whoa.
My biggest strength is the people that I have around me.
Amen, brother.
And I know that wolves aren't that positive of an animal imagery wise in the Bible, although Benjamin is called a tearing wolf, and I think that's pretty positive. But the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack.
Yeah.
And so the awesome thing is that with Christian students we serve on a team. And the good thing about that is that's what the body of Christ is. It's a team. And so getting to serve with a team and on a team and as a member of a team has been awesome. It's great to not have to be King Kong and not have all the answers and be a hero, doing it the very best and faithfully as you can on your own. And so I think that's been the awesome thing, is being on a team.
Yeah, very good. What's your favorite book in the Bible?
Favorite book in the Bible? Well, that's a good question. I really like stories, and so I think I like the Gospels for that. I think I like Genesis for that. I love how Jesus communicates a lot of things via story. I also really like Philippians. Philippians is on the experience of Christ. Paul's in a jail, and he's telling the people that are reading his letter, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. To me, that's really profound. So you kind of see the depth of his living Christ to me in Philippians. And so I think I like Philippians for that reason also.
So if you had to make a one choice, what would it be?
If I had to make one choice, I guess it would be, I guess I'd take one of the Gospels if it only had to be one, like on an island somewhere.
Which one?
Which island?
Which
No,
island?
Which gospel?
I want to go to
Well,
Hawaii.
you'd be on Patmos for sure, but which gospel?
Which gospel? Oh man. Well, that makes it hard.
Like I said, I only ask hard questions.
I would take one of the four.
You would make a good lawyer.
All right.
At this point, I like to just open up to any of the other participants here who join us today for this Zoom session. You guys have any question you want to throw at Chris? Now's the time to do it.
Now's the time. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Forever.
Hold your tongue.
We also accept type responses or questions on the chat. Up to you.
I know that Tino and Ty can be really scary, but they're not scary really. They're not. They're gentle, soft, you know. They handle questions well. You know? So it's
not scary. Once you've known us for years, you'll discover we're not scary at all.
That's right. That's right. And if nothing else, then we can look forward to that dinner on Budget Bites.
Oh,
I have at least one last question for you,
Connor.
Any takers?
I have a question for Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, what keeps you always happy and joyful? Since I met you, you're a person that is always so happy.
You can have your video over there.
Well, okay, so that's a good question. I mean, I do think some of us are just a little bit more genetically disposed to be happy people, you know, always look on the bright side, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, maybe I do have some of that going for me. I think I do. But also, I'll just say that, you know, enjoying the Lord is pretty awesome. And that doesn't mean I am all the time, but I am at least some of the time. And when I'm enjoying the Lord with y'all, it's even better, you know. I don't know if y'all have had that experience, but I'm pretty sure you have. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on this Zoom call. You'd probably be eating a dinner somewhere. But yeah, I you know, probably a little bit, you know, genetics and or disposition, but I'd say, you know, at least some of it is enjoying the Lord with you guys. That's got to be at least some of it.
When those times are possible when you are down, not as joyful. Yeah. What is the kind of the go-to way to bring you joy back to the Lord? What is your go-to kind of practice maybe, or I don't know.
You know, be honest with you. I mean, a lot of times if I can just get, it doesn't even have to be face to face. It could be face to face over Zoom. But a lot of times if I can just see one of the other brothers, then man, that's a big help. You know, I can talk about how bad and sad everything is and then feel a whole lot better by the time it's over. A lot of times too, it's just, you know, kind of my go-to is just, I just start calling on the Lord, like, Lord, you know, like, oh Lord, this is so bad, you know. Oh Lord, you know, I mean, I do some of that, but you know, just seeing one of the other brothers, talking to him, you know, pouring out my whatever, and that has a way to make me, I just feel a whole lot better. Marina asked, what's my favorite hymn? Or maybe she was asking Ty, what's his favorite hymn?
No, you.
I think that's a good question. What's my favorite hymn? Well, I don't know what my favorite one is, but one that I like for sure, one of my favorites is um, Before the Throne of God Above. That's one of my favorites. Before the Throne of God. What am I jamming to right now? Right now I'm not jamming to anything. But there's one I found on SoundCloud it's like this verse from Hosea. That one to me is a real jam. Let's see. Come and let us return to Jehovah, for he has torn us, but he will heal us. He will bind us up on the third day. I mean, that one to me that one's incredible too. But I think my favorite kind of classic hymn. Oh, you know what? I do have a favorite hymn. I have a favorite hymn. It's Hark the Herald Angels Sing.
Oh,
Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Glory to the Newborn King. That one's
y'all, he was singing that for like a month. I can testify.
Exactly. Too often is it just relegated to December. That's a year-round classic.
Year-round hymn, yes.
Top shelf hymn, you know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. That's my favorite. Hark the Herald.
Maybe that would be a good way to finish out the session with a little Huck the Hero solo here by Chris Hall.
No. Michelle asked, when you introduced all your friends to Trevor and he was able to connect them with the Lord really well, were you ever jealous that he had that gift? I was so jelly. And I wish my friends hadn't come to the Lord through him. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, hey, the deal is, on a team, not everybody's the same, and you need different people to do different jobs. Not everybody's LeBron, not everybody's the quarterback. Not everybody's the punter. You need different people to do different things. And so, we need the Trevors of the world, and we need the Tinos, and we need the Ediths, and we need the Marios. So, and the Acacias and the Marithas. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Sorry, Tino, I cut you off.
Another question from well, we can go back to that one. What does your time with the Lord look like? And has it changed over the years?
Yes, it has. My time with the Lord now, I mean, a lot of times, honestly, it looks like whoa, I was up at night with my kids again multiple times, and whoa, man, I got up later than I wanted to, and I'm stumbling around the kitchen, and it's as I'm doing the necessary things to take care of my kids, it's praying. It used to be like, no, I can't. I wall off everything and I pray before anything else. That's great. That's what that's what I kind of shoot for. But a lot of times now it looks like, oh gosh, now I'm in the midst of my day and my situation. I better start praying and contacting the Lord in the midst of all this. And then it's like finding a way to get myself away so that I can read the Bible, pray over some verses. Sometimes it's, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I used to hate praying with people over the phone. It's like, I can pray. It's easier for me to do that without you. It's like, I don't want to be on the phone, and I just, let's not do it on the phone. But now I love getting in the car and I'm driving and I call somebody, Lord, I mean, you can really pray, when you're driving and you're supposed to be, not holding it, but you know what I'm saying. Well, I love that now. A lot of times it looks like I'm contacting the Lord in the midst of everything, and then I'm carving some time out for myself to read and pray and maybe getting with somebody to pray over the phone. That's kind of what it looks like now.
I have a quote here for you, Chris, goes along the line of that earlier question. This is from Harry S. Truman.
All right.
It was like this. It is amazing what you can accomplish if you do not care who gets the credit.
Ah, there we go. Wow. Yeah, that's really true. Yep. That's good.
Yeah. I see. I was going to ask something.
Wait, there is a question from.
Yeah, let's keep going. Okay.
How did you meet Mrs. Hall?
Oh, Oh my goodness. Maritha, you're just going to have to come over for that one.
Oh,
I think
But I want to know too.
I
me
guess
too.
both of y'all. I guess both of
Tuna
y'all have to
party.
come over
Tuna
then.
party.
Boy, if I start talking about that, I may just keep us rolling here for the next few hours. Once you start opening up the heart, it's hard to close it back up. You know what I'm saying? I think y'all feel me. Pauline says, "Me too. Me too."
You look,
As
look,
in,
looks like
she feels me. As in,
you
she
got
feels
three
me.
sisters coming over for dinner here after
Well, that's good. Don't bring Corona
isolation
with you.
quarantines lifted.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait till after the, Corona.
That'd be sometime next year.
Sounds
Aretha
good.
says thumbs up.
Yep.
So Tina, you have one more though?
Well, I was going to say probably something people don't know about Chris. Okay, probably something you guys don't know about Chris is Chris actually is a really good. He's a really good. Okay, let me do this. I'm saying
Singer.
blank. Really good. Fill in the blank. What would you guys say? Chris is a really good. Fill in the blank. One word. He's a really good. What would you say? You can. Why don't you type in your answer in chat? Really good. Blank. Take a minute here. I'm curious. How people will respond. I'll read that. Dancer. Yeah, actually, he has a pretty good dance move for sure. But that's not what I'm thinking of. Babysitter. Well, he's learning. Cook. I don't know. Maybe burgers. I could say. He'd probably make a good burger. Filmmaker. Football player. For sure, he's a good football player. But something that you guys would be surprised about. Eater of Döner. Yes. No doubt. Handshaker, the best, I think. Love of all things Germany.
I am a big Germany fan.
You cannot
like it.
answer your own question.
I can't interject.
All right, let me tell you something. And I was surprised by this, but Chris and I, for a few years, we actually spent quite a bit of time together. We used to go to Europe together, and we would ride in the car, hour up, an hour down. So we would spend quite a bit of time together. And I discovered that Chris actually is a pretty good singer.
Aha.
Oh.
I'm serious. I mean, this man sings with soul.
Cue my solo.
Now, Chris won't do it here, but I've been one too many car rides with him, and we would just kind of go back and forth. But I don't know if there's a song under the sun that Chris doesn't know. But
Yeah, me neither.
you think in another life you could have been, I don't know, a country singer or something?
Well,
Whoa.
The Lord delivered me from that life of sin. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Maybe so. But who knows now? I guess we'll never know. But I can still bother my girls here with all my songs and singing.
I just imagine you're always tuning something around. Something's
Tuning it up. Yeah, I am.
tuning
I
up or
wish I
something.
could play the guitar. I wish I could play and sing, but I never learned, and I wish I had.
I can probably teach you the guitar.
You could teach me. I'd have to put in the time, but I want
I can
to
give you
know
all
it.
the secret shortcuts to help you out.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah, we can do it. We can figure that out sometime. Not hard. We get that. At least you have a career in your own house.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, y'all are my friends, and it's been good to be together. Plus, with y'all.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Chris. We appreciate the time.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We enjoy really doing these times with you. Hope that that in something of today that you were inspired and refreshed to hear and see something of the Lord in all of our lives, not just Chris, but even our own lives. And these things would speak to us and even would cause us to pray to the Lord. So he would continue to move so that we wouldn't just have a personal relationship with the Lord, but a purposeful.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you
gonna
so
take
much.
that one away. That was good.
That
And purposeful.
purposeful. Yeah, purposeful. I mean, to me, I feel like that's the secret. I mean,
Amen.
that's really the secret. If you want your Christian life to go to the next level, it can't just be personal. It has to be purposeful.
That's
Wow.
right.
Personal is the foundation of the purposeful, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the personal is the root of the tree, right? The personal, but the purposeful is how high you get that tree to go. That's the
Wow.
The fruit.
That's kind of the way I see it. Anyhow, you know. Anyway, thank you so much, Chris, for being here. Tune in next week. I think we have Johanna.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'll think about. I'll pray about.
Oh!
All right.
Something's gonna happen.
Got several thumbs up.
Several thumbs up, Johanna. That's right. You know.
Right.
We'll see. We'll just make that tentative. We'll confirm that for next week. So we'll either be back here again at 3 p.m. slot next Monday, or we'll be at our regular 9 p.m. slot. We'll let you guys know. We appreciate us being with you guys today, and we will see you guys next time.
Yes.
See y'all then.
Amen. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye. We'll see you again soon.